everyone, it's your girl Jay, and welcome to Weekly Roundup, a show where I talk about the hottest topics in K-pop. Where today, Maria Sano, Maria Sano. So it looks like I owe YG an apology. I'm sorry. Because finally, we are getting a debut date for their newest group, Blackpink. Yesterday, they released a teaser confirming that the group would debut on August 8th. Now, the picture is already really cool. You have this kind of eerie, old-timey floral vibe where they're all making like this star thing with their hands. And it had the header Blackpink in your area. So I don't know what that means, but you know, hey, we're finally getting something. It already looks pretty interesting. Like, I'm very curious. Now, I wanted to talk about this a while ago, but I actually saw this really interesting theory as to why people thought that YG was kind of halting or not, right away saying what day Blackpink was going to debut. And a lot of people actually thought that it had to do with Red Velvet. And it's not just YG checking for SM, but it might be SM checking for YG as well. So a lot of you might not know, but back in 2014, there was this whole big issue because SNSD was going to make their comeback with Mr. Mr. and 21 was making their comeback with Come Back Home. And people were wondering if these two huge girl groups from these huge companies were going to come back simultaneously. The last time being all the way back, I believe, when 21 was around their debut year, and during the Genie era and 21's I Don't Care area, they kind of clashed heads there. And it was a big deal because they hadn't really been competing for like the same music shows at the same time since that time. And it was kind of, you could kind of see that like YG and SM were kind of, like, okay, I see you. Kind of in standoff, just by the way that 1 minute SNSD thing would be pushed back and then 21's thing would be pushed back. So some people sense that YG may have been doing the same thing here, waiting for SM to announce Red Velvet's comeback before they announce Blackpink's debut day. Because I feel bad for saying this, but no matter how you look at it, because they're both the new girl groups of two of the biggest companies, they're going to be considered rivals. And Blackpink's debut is very important that YG probably doesn't want any competition or want it to be overshadowed by whatever Red Velvet might come back. And honestly, you never know, vice versa, because we don't know how successful Blackpink's debut will be. So I just thought that was a little interesting tidbit that a lot of people felt, even though they announced that Red Velvet would be coming back in the summer, like a while ago, we haven't had a set date, is maybe they were waiting. They were kind of playing a chicken in a sense to see who would release their date first and then kind of plan around that. But regardless, I am super excited and I can't wait to see what bops Blackpink delivers. Moving on, this week, concert management company Jazzy Group announced that Day6 would unfortunately be canceling their first ever US fan meet. The fan meet was supposed to take place next month in August in the cities of San Francisco, LA, and Orlando, Florida. On an official statement posted to their Facebook page, Jazzy Group said, "It is with much regret to announce that we are being forced to cancel Day6's first fan meeting in the USA 2016 due to unforeseen circumstances such as obtainment of the US visa. Tickets will be refunded at point of purchase while the date of refund will be announced shortly. Once again, we regret deeply the great disappointment from you all." Now, despite the fact that Jazzy Group stated that it was visa issues that led to the cancellation of this fan meet, many have been speculating that the real reason behind this cancellation may be due to low ticket sales, citing as evidence things like the fact that it was originally supposed to be in April but got pushed back just a week ago or so. Label mates The Wonder Girls, Twice, and GOT7 all made messages encouraging people to attend the fan meet. And a lot of people pointed out that it was kind of weird that Jazzy Group wasn't able to obtain their visa, but Day6 had no problem performing in the US for KCON New York that took place in June. Now, a lot of people have been, coming up with reasons why the ticket sales might be low. Of course, the first one being a lot of people don't think that Day6 has yet procured a fan base big enough to have such like international events. A lot of people comparing their fan base size to what GOT7's fan base size was when they had their American fan meet. However, honestly, I feel like they have a lot of international fans. I mean, just going to KCON New York, the amount of people that were there just to see Day6 and they didn't care about no one else. They were just there to see their booze Day6 was insane. And like the Day6 stands were, you know, wow, they were there, they were loud, they were supporting their boys. But I've seen other people suggesting that maybe it was the location. They had 2 dates in California and 1 date in Florida. Now, California is kind of like the go-to place when somebody's having a concert. So California shouldn't have really been a problem, but people are suspecting maybe Orlando wasn't a good hub for people, you know, who couldn't make it to LA to go. Usually they do 1 East Coast, 1 West Coast. And a lot of people think that if they would have put maybe 1 East Coast date like New York, there would have been more people able to go. Like for me, example, I would have gone if there was a date in New York. Jay, I know you're watching this, Jay from Day6. I would have gone if there's a date in New York, right? So. But I feel like either way, you just can't help but feeling bad for Day6. I mean, they've already been through so much with their loss of a member and now this. I just hope, you know, they can bounce back. So last but not least, the highly anticipated dance competition Hit the Stage finally aired its first episode this week. For those of you who don't know, Hit the Stage is a new show on Mnet where they pit different idols and crews against each other and different dance challenges. The show features idols Bora from Sistar, Hyohyun from SNSD, Momo from Twice, Hoya from Infinite, Shonu from Monsta X, Taemin from Shiny, Ten from NCT, and Yu Kwan from Block B. So in this first episode, they had the theme of devils. So they were giving you like really eerie Halloween-esque costumes and themes. And then for this episode in particular, we had performances by Momo, Bora, Ten, and Yu Kwan. So I'm just gonna give my little 2 cents on each performance. So for Bora, I was really excited when I heard she was going to join the show because Sistar fans know Bora can like really dance. I really thought this was really a chance for her to shine. Now, as for her performance, it was very interesting because she was the only performer this episode who only had 1 other person she was performing with. She did a duet with a woman named Honey J, and I definitely think they looked good. They looked the part. They were giving you a lot of charisma. But as for the overall dance, I feel like it fell flat. Like in the beginning, I was very captured. I was like, yes, shake them hips. It was giving me Gone Not Around any longer, or like Sistar 19 teas in general. But as it went on, I felt like less and less interested. I thought Honey J and Bora did a really good job with being in sync because with only 2 people, it's very hard to make sure that, you know, you're both hitting the moves at the same time because it's going to be really noticeable if you guys are off from each other. But I thought they did a really good job with that. And a lot of people were saying that Honey J upstaged her, but I didn't really see that at all. I just think overall, you know, the choreography wasn't as hard hitting as I would like. Moving on, my baby Momo from Twice did a vampire-esque theme, and I thought she was really adorable. She really killed it. She really had stage presence, but my fallback with her was the fact that, and this is a pet peeve or like a criticism that I had in the teaser, that she seems to be going a bit too fast in some of the moves in comparison to the background dancers, or sorry, her crew. I just felt like sometimes maybe she was super excited. You know, this is one of her first like solo things without Twice, even though they were there to cheer her on. But like, I just feel like she should just like, whew, so she makes sure she's hitting it along with the other members of the crew. I thought she really pulled out like the sexy, scary, dangerous, like that feel really well. Now to get to the most controversial part. So at the end it came down to Ten and Yu Kwan ended up beating Ten, which a lot of people had a lot of criticisms about, but let me first go into the 2 performances before I give my little take on that. So Ten from NCT really surprised me. He was really good. He showed like flexibility. He showed like, you know, he was really on the move. It was a really cool theme. It was like this whole like freaking, what do you call it? Like a cult thing in the beginning. And then it just went into moves. And I thought the overall thing was really cool. And he definitely like, you know, he just showed, like, he was like, okay, I'm here to dance, let me dance. And that whole thing when he did that grudge part, I was like, bye, that's so scary. So Yu Kwan comes through and he is giving us this Joker theme, and it's really awesome because it was a dance performance, but he really hammered in the performance part because it was almost like a show or a musical. Like, it had a story, he was a Joker, he was crazy, he was shooting people, and then it went into some choreo, and then they did this whole, you know, they built this like machine and he was like doing that kind of thing, and it like fit the whole theme. Now, Yu Kwan ended up winning, but a lot of people thought he didn't deserve the win because they feel like he didn't dance that much and he really did rely on his crew. However, if I'm giving my 2 cents, I think that at the end of the day, you know, the whole performance should be taken into consideration. And if I'm being honest, I thought that Yu Kwan's performance in a whole was much more interesting and compelling than Ten's. Not to say that Ten's was bad, of course, because I just like praised it for the last, you know, couple minutes. But I feel like for example, I watched Ten's, thought it was nice. And, you know, I watched it a couple times just so, you know, I make sure I was taking everything in when I reviewed it. But like Yu Kwan's, like, I watched that like 10 times. Like, it was just so interesting. He was in character. I feel like he utilized so much more things. And a lot of people are criticizing the fact that he had some props, but I don't see anything wrong with props. And I honestly don't see anything wrong with the fact that it was really his crew that was shining in terms of choreography, because in my opinion, the crew is just as important as the idol who's leading the crew in this competition. I mean, there's a reason why in the corner it says like Momo crew or Ten crew or Yu Kwan crew, and there's a reason why there was a representative of the crew standing right by the idol when they were getting their scores, because it's not just about the idol, it's about what you can do with the whole crew. I guess next week we're gonna see the other half of the performances. And I'm really excited to see Hoya because he has been snatching me bald ever since that performance he put on with Dongwoo, Sehun, and Tao. I think it was like the Mamas or something. It was some end of the year world award performance. I remember watching his and thinking it was so good. And he was the only one who really impressed me in the teaser. So I'm just really excited to see what he has to show. But as always, guys, that's my opinion and I want to know yours. Who do you think should have won this first episode of Hit the Stage? Are you excited for Blackpink? And why do you think it took so long for YG to finally give us an official debut date? And last but not least, were you going to attend Day6's fan meet until it got canceled? If so, come here for a hug. Well, that's it for today and see you next time on Weekly Wrap.